1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Beatles, Song by Song, where we tell the stories behind the songs and recordings of the incomparable Fab Four. In the mid-1950s, John Lennon and Paul McCartney, both in their teens, listened to music that was coming from America. This new music was given the name rock and roll by American DJ Alan Freed.
Here's the king of rock and roll himself, Alan Freed. Thank you, Vern Bennett, and welcome to our Camel Rock and Roll Dance Party.
But rock and roll was really black rhythm and blues being performed by white artists. As in earlier in the century, when white artists co-opted jazz from its roots in African culture, so went rock and roll. Artists like Elvis Presley and Bill Haley and the Comets had hits originally recorded by black artists. These more sanitized versions were more palatable to pre-civil rights America. But Alan Freed recorded a show each week for Radio Luxembourg, which was able to be heard in Liverpool in the 1950s. His show featured the original black artists. This is how Lennon and McCartney discovered the real roots of the music they had come to love. Lennon remembered.
Rock and roll, because it's primitive enough, it gets through it. To me, it got through out of all the things that were happening when I was 15, And the thing about rock and roll is that it's real, and realism gets through to you, despite yourself. You recognize something in it which is true, like all true art.
Soon after, the black artists like Chuck Berry and Ray Charles broke through in America, and it was their recordings that really influenced the writing and early recordings of the Beatles. When the Beatles were signed to EMI Records in 1962, they were only fledgling songwriters. They did quickly mature to become master composers, but for their first few LPs, they relied on cover versions of the rhythm and blues songs that they had been so influenced by. On the Beatles' first album, Please Please Me, 6 of the 14 songs are covers, including Arthur Alexander's Anna, a Goffin King song called Chains, originally recorded by the Cookies, Baby It's You by the Shirelles, Twist and Shout by the Isley Brothers, A Taste of Honey by Lenny Welch. Others on later albums included Please Mr. Postman by the Marvelettes, Roll Over Beethoven by Chuck Berry, and Money by Barrett Strong. Other songs included Kansas City and Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. These songs provided the genesis for the early Beatles sound, with John Lennon's lead vocal forcefully evoking the emotion needed to render such memorable versions. The songwriting collaboration of John Lennon and Paul McCartney would soon after take over the world of popular music in the 1960s. But it is these songs and artists who greatly influenced them. This is Susan Kreutzer for the Beatles, Song by Song.